So we're going to be starting our new topic, which is transformations. There are 4 different areas within transformations that we'll look at the end of this week and of next week as well. So the first one we're going to look at is translations, but you will also have reflections, enlargements, and rotations coming up as well. All right, so there are 4 different categories within it, but transformations is the broad term, and you can get a question on each of the independent transformations, or you could get a collective question as well, which means you're going to have to recognize which one it is or use more than one of them at any one time. It is a much lighter topic than what you've had over the last couple of weeks. Okay, so it should be a recap on things that you had covered when you were in year 8, and hopefully shouldn't be too taxing on your brain to get at this point in time. So hopefully you'll enjoy just a little bit of light relief. So let's just recap then what a translation is. So a translation, again, is a type of transformation. It's about moving an object. Okay, so the object's shape, size, and orientation will stay exactly the same. It's literally about sliding it up and down or left and right, and that's all that you can do with it. Okay, so typically it's a bit like the axes that you have on a grid, where your x-axis is about going left or right, and your y-axis is about going up or down on a grid. Typically, because you're getting a bit more sophisticated now, we want to be able to use a vector, specifically a column vector, to help us describe translations. Okay, and an example of this is it's a set of brackets, okay, that look like that, a bit like a coordinate bracket, but instead of having one number next to another number, it's one number on top of another number. Okay, the top value is technically our x value, so the one that comes first, which tells us about going left or right, and the bottom one tells us about moving up or down. Okay, so if you try and think of it in the format of a set of axes, you remember x is left to right, so along the corridor, and your y is up or down the stairs. Okay, so for example, this specific vector here, we can think about what that means. So anywhere on the grid, if we're going 2 on the x-axis, that's going to be 2 in the positive direction. Okay, and then 3 on the y-axis in the negative direction tells us 2 to the right and 3 down. You have to be specific if you are describing, okay, a translation. So 2 right, not 2 across. Okay, so make sure you're using left or right and up or down. Right, if you want to give this question a go, so first of all, think about how you would describe the translation that maps P onto Q. So it is important that you're reading where you're going from or where you're going to in words, and then as a column vector, and then hit play when you're ready for me to go through it with you. Right, so in terms of in words, hopefully we can see that if we go 3 to the right, and we want to pick a particular point to do that. So if I say the top point of P, I want to go 1, 2, 3 squares to the right, and then 1, 2 up to get to the top point of Q. And as a vector, that would be a column vector 3, 2. So hopefully you're all right with that one. You've got another one here. So this time describe the translation that maps X onto Y, and hit play when you want me to go through the answer. All right, so again, you want to pick a particular point on X and then make sure you're looking for that particular point on Y. So if we go with this top one up here, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 to the right, and 1, 2, 3 down to get to the top of Y. And as a column vector, then it's 3 in the positive direction going right and 3 going in the negative direction, and hence down. All right, for the vector. So if we want to be able to transform a triangle by a translation, okay, so this case we've got the original diagram here and we're going to translate it for 3. At that point, we want to make sure that we are picking a particular point on the shape and translating that point. You can then do it for all of the points if it makes you more confident, but some of you will be able to do it with just the one point, but always double check it just to make sure. So if we start, or if you want to give it a go, by all means do, and then hit play when you're ready for me to go through it with you. And when I'm going to do it, I'm going to pick a particular vertex or corner of the shape. So we're going to go with the bottom right one. And I want to translate that 4 to the right and 3 up. So I'm going to go 4 to the right and then go 3 up and just plot that point there. And then if you can imagine, if you can visualize it, you can draw it at this point. If you're not so confident, then you'll pick another of the vertices. So we're going to go with the bottom left We're going to go 4 to the right from that point and 3 up and plot that point, and repeat for the remaining vertex. Okay, so 4 to the right and 3 up and plot that point, leaving you with those 3 points that you can then join up to make your translated shape at the end. And it's that straightforward, hopefully. Okay, so quick recap then, just to go through. So true or false, have a quick look at this one, decide whether you think it's true or false, and then we'll go through it. So if we're looking at this one, we're saying to pick our vertex that corresponds to the vertex on A and B. And to go from A, we're going 6 to the right, and then we are going 4 up. So actually our translation would have been 6, 4. Okay, so that is in fact false. Have a look at this one. Again, decide whether you think it's true or false. And if we pick a point on A and then B, remember we're going from A to B. So we are going to go 5 to the left and 3 down. So that is in fact -5, -3, and hence true. Okay. Right, if we have a look at this one, so an exam question could be something like this, where they ask you to describe the transformation. You would first of all get a mark then if you said it was a translation. You would then get the mark for describing it by a vector. So if we have a look at this one, we pick that bottom left corner on both shapes, and we're going from A to B. So we haven't moved anywhere left or right, but we have gone 8 down. And hence our translation is 0, -8, so it was false. So it's just making sure you got the numbers the right way up. And one more, we have a look at this one again, decide whether you think it's true or false. And if we pick a corresponding point, we then want to make sure that we are going 6 to the left, and we're not going any up or down, and hence it's true. Okay, so you've got a My Maths task now to have a go at, which is on translations. Again, you should be able to score quite highly on this one, so I do want you to get at least 70% or give it another go. If you've got any questions or you're not sure, then please use the help sheet. And then there's a second part to today's lesson, which is going to be looking at reflections. So make sure you have a go at that one as well. Okay, good luck.